Welcome to Adventure Radio, your one stop for everything Adventure Radio. Make sure to smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, it don't cost you money. Hit the subscribe button. What is up, Ham Radio? Kilo Echo 8, Papa Zoo November, Ham Radio Adventure Guy. Thanks for stopping by, your one stop for everything Adventure Radio. It is Hump Day. It's time for the Hump Day Happy Hour. And if you enjoyed that great intro music, you could thank these guys because every single time we get a new person sign up on Patreon, Dan has to change that music.
That's
so if you didn't like that music, maybe think about joining Patreon and make him do a little bit of work. Also, thank you very much to the YouTube members. As always, you guys are awesome. And last but not least, the ever-changing adventure board. Thanks to Scott, Whiskey 4 Golf Sierra Sierra, for the off-stream donation and a big move up in the charts for him. Also, thanks to Kent, Kilo Niner Alpha Echo Echo, for the off-stream donation. Almost made it to the board. And I ain't gonna lie, somewhere on that board there's a tie, and somewhere else there's $1 separation. So we don't like ties around here. If you think it's you, make it change.
Oh, that's between me and Josh. Right?
Between you and Josh? Yeah. You guys are like 20 spots away from each other, but yeah, sure. All right. What's going on, everybody?
Not a lot.
Not a lot at all.
Good to see everybody in the chat here. Let me run down the list. Toby, good to see you. Kent, Paul Hopman, Andrew, Kilo Oscar 4 Tango, the antenna man himself, Fox Sierra Zulu is in the house. Rod K4 DSX, good to hear you. John Carr, Larry Bingham, Hiking and Hammond he's getting on a flight, had to put it in airplane mode. Alpha Echo 4 X-Ray Oscar, Chris, good to hear you. K Murder, love the exploder, buddy, looking good. Ronnie and Ken, what's going on, guys? Thanks for joining.
If you're going to say Ronnie, you got to say it right. Evo Oscar 4 Zulu Romeo X-Ray.
That's right.
Oh. Hey, Murder, I tried to hear you today and could not hear you.
Yep. Beat me to it.
But I did try. I was going to give you that Dog Don't Hunt award. I was going to actually hunt you, I don't hunt very many people. So I was going to give you that special award. Anyway, Hayden, what's going on with
not a lot?
The swim platform.
Not a lot. It's all coming together.
It's all coming together.
I'm about done with the swim platform. Hopefully be putting it on this weekend. And then I got 2 other things to do. And then we're put it in the water. get back out and activating the Captain John Smith Trail.
That's right. I just
Hear
got
ya.
caught out. Eastern Standard Time. I didn't see you, dude. I'm sorry. I do apologize.
Maybe he was QRP.
Maybe. You never know.
Could happen.
So, Hayden, did you get your shipment of swimsuits in from Terry's Etsy store?
Not yet.
Not
They're on
yet?
back order.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I'm
I
pretty
guess after
sure.
the next Ham Fest, he'll
I'm
resupply
pretty sure he'll get a
stock.
big shipment of them in Dayton, so you'll be okay.
Well, don't ship them to Steven, Uniform Delta Victor, because they'll end up in Texas when he's in Indiana.
Oh,
You know
He
what
went-
Mike says he'll take participation trophies. So
There you
you
go.
know, we may have to give the strength for you, Mike.
I got water right now. Does that count? I guess that makes me less of a man.
Well, considering Mike wouldn't drink Dr. Pepper probably either, he'd have to have whiskey. So
You put whiskey in the Dr. Pepper, though.
whiskey into Dr. Pepper is
Yeah.
always good.
Yeah.
Always good. And I don't think you said Alpha Echo 4 Extra Oscar either, did you?
I sure did. I sure
Oh,
did.
did you?
I remember that one.
All right.
Yeah,
We'll
I got
get-
Fart Sniffing Zebras there. I got him too.
Yep.
All right. So we asked Hayden about the boat. Dan, how's your week been?
Been good. Been good. We touched on it a little bit on Sunday, but we had a really good Georgia Parks on the Air event last weekend. So a lot of activators were out in Georgia State Park. So hopefully you got your Georgia State Parks in the log. The bands weren't too cooperative. So if you didn't hear us and you didn't get us, sorry about that, but we can't control Mother Nature, right? So we had fun. The scores are starting to come in, and within about the next week and a half, they should be finalized and get some certificates out and whatever the organizers do. But big shout out, big thanks to all the event organizers, whoever's on the committee to put this together. We had a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I'm sure that there was a lot of work put into it. It did not help me none because I'll tell you what, the bands were just horrible this past weekend. And when I got to the park, the first thing I did was I went to the spotting page and I scrolled through all the Georgia parks and I went down each and every one of them. And you know what? I could hear hunters left and right. I couldn't hear it. And I have a hot spot to Georgia. That's what's weird. So it kind of weirded me out.
Bang,
all saying-
bang. Welcome, buddy. See you.
They're all saying Crown with Dr. Pepper, which I have drank Crown with Dr. Pepper, and it is tasty. I will say that.
No new
Yeah.
parks for John, but yeah, I mean, even the park to parks that I were getting on 40 meters from inside of Georgia, they were all fairly weak. So the bands were really shifty. I mean, sometimes they'd come in great and then all of a sudden they'd be gone for a while.
So the first thing I want to talk about tonight is something happened this week that everybody was talking about forever.
What's
And
that?
that was the eclipse.
Mike got an
Oh,
amp.
yeah.
And although we're still here, so a lot of the people that were talking about it was once again wrong. They're-
Well,
you know,
I got abducted and then they brought me back.
okay. Well, that
Yeah.
That's scary because that's what happened and how we got Terry.
They didn't want me.
I know they didn't want Terry either, so that scares me, Dan.
Yeah, well, they said something about the RF interference that I make aboard their spaceship was messing up their telemetry or some kind of nonsense crap like that. And I offered to give them some ferrite, but they didn't want any. So
If you ever get
Okay.
adopted by aliens and they bring you back, Terry's your uncle.
there you go.
I now know that if I'm ever driving anywhere with Dan and I see a roundabout coming up, I'm jumping out the window because I know what's going to happen.
I don't back up. No.
Yeah, but before you got abducted, maybe. We'll see what happens next time.
John, did you make the video? I couldn't tell you. It's actually a funny story if you watch that. I didn't get any of day one because some numbskull. I mean, you'll watch the video and see, but I don't remember. I mean, I know I got you in the log, but I don't know if you made the cut, so to speak. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
It's quite funny because speaking of numbskulls during activation videos, so tomorrow I'm dropping a video, and there's two things I want to say about the video before it comes out. Number one, little Kaylee's going to enjoy it because I just totally mess up her call and call her something else. She still answers me, but I call her something else. So she's going to laugh about that. Number two, almost the whole entire video, there is a guy tuning up. So, but it's kind of a fun video, and you'll realize it when you watch it because it's kind of a tradition video. We'll just say.
Yeah, where is PP Man? I haven't heard him since the eclipse either. But I think I saw him. Did I see him spotted earlier?
Well, he was in Chilpad last night, and he did hunt me CW yesterday.
Okay.
But I have not seen him or heard him today. So,
So they sent him back too.
He's actually, the third time's the charm. He's actually doing pretty good on CW this time. He's been hunting a lot of people, and he actually yesterday at the end of everything, he said he put 73 and he put PP Man, and then the next time he put 73 and he put PP out. Now that can be taken many different ways.
Yeah, but
he at least is going off script, which is more than I can do, because here's the thing. I can go off script if the hunters would leave me alone.
Yeah.
I have found out that I love POTA people, love you guys to death, but POTA hunters do not listen at all.
I had my first experience with that.
And, I go through the same thing every time. Break 73 or break maybe thank you in 73. But if I go break thank you and then start going into something that ain't 73, that there's no dit in there. You don't got to start calling me because I was trying to tell that person something, and I've tried to do that with several people, and nobody listens.
I had my first experience with that. Somebody just flatly not listening when I called back Kent Kilo 9 Alpha Echo Echo. Somebody heard the Echo Echo, the dit for the EE, and then they started calling. And I'm like, there's no reason right now in this conversation where I will be sending a dit for people to call again.
I've had that happen a lot when I'm calling him back. But it's the thing is, there's nothing that I would be putting.
Yeah.
I'm typically, maybe you guys should learn to decode, because I'm typically saying something funny to somebody. If I'm going off script, I'm probably being funny. Just like Steven today, and I won't tell you why I started calling Steven Kilo Delta 9 Uniform Delta Whiskey. But I did it on sideband, and then I did it on CW, and on CW he put "be good." But it all comes down to, if you want to know top secret stuff like that, you got to hang out in Chilpad, where the top secret stuff comes out.
See, that's hard for me to read, Bang Bang, because CW free, it's more of an audible thing for me now than visual. So I actually have to almost, that takes me a while to decipher.
It's hard for me to read because I'm blind as a bat.
It was just dits and does, just like your pile-ups.
The thing is, I've seen people, using the cheat sheet out in the field. That would take me longer than it would to just send it, because I'll be like, "What's that say right there?"
What I've been trying to do is if I miss a letter and I can't decode it, but I get the rest of them, I'll send the call sign back to the guy as I heard it. And then as I'm sending it, I can figure out what that letter was.
Absolutely. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
all the time. The first time they'll send it, and I'll send what I heard and then a question mark, and then they'll send it again, and I still didn't get it because I'm just having a brain fart. You know,
Yeah, I just find that
I've
my
been
shirt.
doing I've been doing
Yeah.
CW for a while, and that you get, at least a couple times a week. Thank you very much, Chris, for the super chat. A couple times a week, you get a brain fart. I don't care how much you practice. I'd love to ask Bill Brown this question: how many times a week he gets a brain fart? Because the thing is, typically you have a brain fart with something that you send all the time, aka
Yeah.
something in your call sign, the 7 on 73. But somebody's sending it and they're calling. All of a sudden, what is that number? I don't recognize that number. Really, because you send it at the end of every QSO. But
Yeah. I sent somebody's call sign back to him. I think I think it's in my video. I sent their call sign back to him, and then I just paused, like just like that. I didn't know what to say. It's like, okay, what? I'm lost. And normally I say, thank you, and then you are, and then their signal report. But for some reason, I just went brain dead.
and it's funny though. But once you've sent for a while, and that's another thing. I probably couldn't read it anyway. Yeah, I could read it if I really looked at it. But hey, thank you very much for 7 months, man. That's awesome. But I can read it, but it's easier for me to hear it, and it's easier for me to hear letters. And sometimes I hear call signs, and other times I hear fists. And it's funny because I had a big pile up going yesterday, and at the end of a call I kept hearing Delta Alpha November. And here's the thing, I knew it wasn't Dan. It wasn't Dan's fist. It wasn't Dan's tone. And I would go Delta Alpha November question mark, and it was a really light call, and they probably wasn't hearing me very well either. But I eventually did work them, and I don't know why I didn't think with
That was
this
my
game.
my
You're your
brother from
brother
another
from
mother.
another mother, the other
Yeah,
Dan.
buddy. Yeah,
But
and he was probably using a straight key too.
and that's probably what threw me a little bit too, because in a pile. Here's the thing, David, that used to get me all the time with the cootie, and I finally learned it. He hadn't hunted me in a while, and he came in my pile today, and I was like, "What is this garbage?" And then it dawned on me, "Oh, that's David. That's David's garbage."
Oh, that's funny.
Uh,
But yeah, it's been a fun adventure for me. I really enjoy it. It's mentally challenging. So I find myself that I can do it a little bit longer and longer each time before my brain just totally melts down.
so, and we can go back to CW because I can always talk about CW, but there's a couple things I do want to talk about this evening. Have you guys noticed? I know it's only spring, but have you noticed that it started to shift into more of a summer propagation lately?
I
Whereas
have,
in
yeah.
whereas in my normal time of activating has went from, and it's funny because when I was editing videos um, this week, a lot of these videos are filmed at the same time, and I'm hearing these crazy pileups, you know, at 1 o'clock in the day. And I'm going out at 1 o'clock in the day now, and I'm I'm not struggling to activate, but I'm struggling to get 50 calls on a band, and that's
Is that
struggling for me.
is that because the days are getting longer? You think?
Well, normally in the summer, you get there's a lot of things behind it. You get people doing other things, but the bands are not as cooperative during the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But the closer to 40 meters is not cooperative. But here's also the thing. Look at Terry flexing on you, Chris.
Damn.
Terry's just gonna flex on you.
Take that.
Hey, thank you very much for 16 months.
I can
And
tell you. I can tell you who's not going to
what's
get a
even
free
more
antenna.
outstanding, Terry? You've been a Patreon longer than 16 months.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's also what I call the West Virginia 20-meter propagation. And I think I'm back to that. Unless you guys are having problems with 20 meters right now. And maybe it's just propagation in general. But normally in the summer here, 20 meters does not work unless you're on top of the hill. In the winter, it'll go out because there's trees, but there's openings.
Mm-hmm.
All that foliage ain't
Yeah, all
there.
the leaves are
And
gone.
it can pass through. But right now, it's forced to go straight up and go over the mountains, which is DX. Not that I mind to get DX, but you're not going to get the huge pile that you get. So
I haven't noticed anything during the day, but I'm not on that much during the day. But I have noticed in the evening time, 40 meters seems to be opening up a little bit more.
now it doesn't do that in places there's not mountains. So if you
Yeah.
non-mountain people are still getting good 20 meters right now, let me know, because I mean, I don't know if it's just the mountain or if you guys are having bad time during the day too. That means it might not be in the West Virginia propagation yet. Well, not me in general, is take me out of the equation. How are you doing on regular 20 meters? Just not hunting me. Yeah,
I'd say normal 20 meters when I'm on, like, and again, it's not in the middle of the day like you're talking about. It's been averagely okay. I mean, I worked California earlier, Alpha Echo 6 Zanzibar,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean, I can't say much about the middle of the day. So.
Well, I've went from like 150 contacts, 20 meters middle of the day, to 15 contacts if I'm lucky middle of the day
Wow.
on 20 meters.
Liz says it was a struggle, and Part Sniffing Zebra says 20 was bad for a couple days, but tonight it seems fine. So.
Well, no, I'm talking midday is what I'm talking. So, of course, the bands are always better in the evening. Like,
Sure.
I can go out right now and just absolutely destroy the world on 40 meters. That's the good thing. Whereas in the winter, 40 meters starts to get really, really long at this time here.
Yes, very.
Now it's getting spring and summer, and 40 meters is getting normal, and I can destroy 40 meters pretty much, you know. And here's another thing. It could be just the simple fact that people are busy too, because on 40 meters, I'm getting good signals from people. It's just I'm not getting the amount of hunters as normal during the
Yeah,
middle of the day.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I've always noticed when I go out and activate on 40 meters that I get all the Discord people on 40.
Because I'm not
Even
gonna lie, most of us hunt out of Discord. We don't go to the
Well,
POTUS
yeah.
spot page.
Well, yeah, but on 40.
Yeah.
well, here's the thing. I spot on POTA every day. You know, I give everybody opportunity to hunt me every single day. But whereas I may do 20 and 40 sideband at a park, and then I start looking at the time, and I'm like, you know what? I'm QRT, and then I'll spot in Discord, and I'm like, all right, Discord only CW, or reverse. You know,
Stand by. We have some science.
Oh,
The position of the sun has a lot to do with it. The angle of the sun to where it hits the earth is different from summer to winter. And that does make sense. It would ionize, I guess, a little differently.
mm-hmm.
Different sections of the atmosphere, maybe more than others, depending on season. So, yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out if in my full blown summer phase now is what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to figure out because it's a little early for me to be in summer propagation because I activate differently in the winter than I do in the summer because of exactly that. And
I do too.
I,
I got to wear long johns and stuff.
and that's the thing. Yeah, when it's the height of summer, you won't catch me on 20 meters unless I'm up on the top of the parks. And there's certain parks that I do activate from the top. So, but you know, anybody who's ever activated with me in one of the valleys, like because a lot of people's came to West Virginia to activate with me, and they all want to go to 1810. They want to go to the famous 1810 where you do it all the time. And Kyle said it best. He was looking around. We were in 1810. He said, "No wonder you say 20 meters don't work here.
Yeah.
How does it get out?" It's like 20 meters is doing an escape run. It's got to find a way out. And the problem is that in these valleys, it only finds its way out to the DX. So it kind of sucks because I I get used to all winter long talking to a group of people, and then I don't talk to them again unless I'm in a different state. So, which there's going to be a lot of different states, even different countries this year. So,
Well, they just need to up their 40-meter game.
yeah,
You know.
I
And I'll
love
say
when
it, and I'll say it again. If you want to hear somebody that you normally don't hear on a band you might not normally hear, build you a loop on ground antenna.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I love when people tell me that it is impossible if they're in the United States anywhere. If they tell me it's impossible for them to get me on 40 meters, I will
No.
tell you right now you're wrong because I have worked every single state on 40 meter sideband.
We even worked Hawaii on 80 meters.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've worked Hawaii on 80 meters. We won't talk about that either.
That was a funny night.
Yeah.
And to give props where props is due, PP Man worked Hawaii on 80 meters on 5 watts.
Oh, wow.
Now, speaking of QRP today I was doing CW, and three people got me. Terry, Charlie Whiskey Bravo, and Steven all got me before I did any changes. But everybody was complaining that they couldn't hear me. So I turned up the power. Now, I'm not going to tell you the power difference so I turned up the power, okay? And all of a sudden, Discord was like, "Man, you're way louder now." You would have thought that I was running 1,500 watts. So
you went from 5 to 5.1.
I went from a tenth of a watt to 10 watts.
Oh yeah.
And they thought I was just on fire. But yeah, I got three contacts. I didn't even say nothing to nobody. I got 3 contacts on the tenth of a watt, and I could have got more, but I had other things to do, and everybody was fussing that they didn't hear me, so I just jerked it up to 10 watts. And
that's a fun little thing to do. When I did mine, it took me, I'd say, about half an hour, 45 minutes to get activated, but it was fun. You know?
But yeah, so congratulations to Terry, Steven, and Charlie Whiskey Bravo, who all got me on a tenth of a watt today. It's always fun to experiment. I've been doing a lot more experimenting this year, where I'm not worried about the numbers as much.
Speaking, go ahead.
How was your activation during the eclipse?
My activation, you know what? I don't know how we got off subject, and thank you, Hayden. Thank you for reeling
I was
me
just
back
about to go
into
the
the swirl.
experiment back to the eclipse.
I was waiting.
Yeah.
So I do want to tell you about my eclipse experience because I've heard a lot of old fogies who was only on 20 meters trying to hunt DX during it, and they
Just-
said the bands
just act
wasn't.
Just
No
act like
bad.
Eclipse ain't doing nothing.
It ain't doing nothing. It ain't doing nothing. And a lot of people told me it was going to be worse. Your bands are going to be horrible. I'm going to tell you right now. In West Virginia, and we were only about 85%, but in West Virginia, I can tell you exactly what happened. So I was activating. I had very heavy QRM. Somebody moved right next to me,
Oh, wow.
and it was loud as can be. The QRM was. I was making calls, but it was slow, and it started getting darker and darker and darker, and the darker it got, the lighter that QRM got. I'm like, oh, cool. This is like a lit eliminator. But when it got to its darkest point, which was not pitch black in West Virginia, like I said, it was dark for that time of day. It was really eerie and cool looking. It's kind of like it kind of reminded me of daybreak,
Yep.
right as you're sitting in your tree stand and you're waiting for that big boy to come walking out. I don't know who did that.
Not me. Oh,
Right as but
I did.
What is going on? There
it
we
got
go.
eerie. It got eerie there for a second. But
Yeah,
anyway, at its darkest point, all of a sudden the QRM was gone, and it was like a late shift pileup.
Yeah.
There was tons of people in there. And I think it lasted 4 or 5 minutes, and I got close to 100 calls in that 4 or 5 minutes. But it was funny because all those people were in there, and I couldn't hear them over that QRM. But it started getting lighter and lighter and lighter again. That QRM started coming right back. It's the weirdest experience. I really enjoyed activating during the eclipse because it was really, really cool.
We had the same experience in 2017 when we saw it. It's an awe-inspiring. It's just it's something at least once in your life. If you have the opportunity, you have to see one. And but getting back to the experimentation part of it, my personal prediction was before the eclipse, I put out a short on it that I didn't think it was going to make much difference because I didn't think the sun was going to be gone for long enough to deionize the D layer to have much effect on the low bands. But Joe N3XLS posted some data from HamSci from when they did an experiment in 2017, the same data, and it did actually show a very distinguished diminish of the D layer during the total eclipse. So there is time for the D layer to go away and then come back. So I was proven wrong, and from what I've been hearing so far, a lot of people had some good propagation on 40 meters during the eclipse, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, and this one lasted twice as long as the one in 2017.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it really, I mean, it's kind of just like people's like, oh, is it just being dark? Because think about it, when it's dark, 40 meters works phenomenal, and that's exactly what it did. But it was just weird how it just notch. It's like it was a big notch filter for that QRM. I heard no QRM. It was you can ask the people that was in my pileup. It went like zero noise to just noise of a rushing pileup. So it was really, really cool. Yeah, and Terry worked Joe on 80 meters in the middle of the day.
Nice.
Looky
Hey.
there's PP man. Everybody was asking where he was. There he is.
We were just talking about you.
He's been to the ER. He had a bottle removed. I won't tell you where it was removed from, but
His hand?
Yes.
he's safe now.
40 was less noisy during the eclipse, Paul says. I was going to ask that too. Did you, and I realize you're in the middle of a pileup and you probably didn't think of it, but did you look at your band scope at all and see the relative noise floor for the rest of the band? Was it quieter, noisier?
I didn't look at the band scope, but I can tell you that that's what I said. The QRM, every bit of noise that was in there, all I could hear was calls at that point. It was like I was sitting in a dark room and there was 100 people in that room saying their call sign to me. That's what it was like.
And as the eclipse started to become less of an eclipse, the moon was moving off.
The noise
came
started coming back, and
wow.
all those people that were in there, and like 2 minutes later, I'm back into the full light. I'm in full QRM again, and barely making out calls, and you couldn't hardly hear anybody in it again. So it was really really interesting. I had a great time doing that. It's not the park I planned on doing it at, but I got there and it was too close, and I was like, well, this is the park this is my Alamo. This is where I make my stand. But it was super cool. It's funny. I put out a short that day. I'm like, you ain't gonna catch me looking at the sky. I'm burning my eyeballs out. You ain't gonna catch me pointing my camera at it and possibly burning my camera out. I was like, you're gonna catch me out here doing POTA and ham radio and seeing what the bands do, And that's what it was about for me. So it was a great time.
And Paul brings up a good point. 9 times out of 10, I don't either because I use the 891. Stephen. But James has the DX10, which has the scope, and I find the scope really useful on 40 meters at night because you can avoid the AM broadcasters, the overseas broadcasters, and you can get away from them a lot better than you can without having one.
Hey, thank you very much, Stephen. He has to pay higher taxes, Chris, because he makes more of the king's coffer than some people. So
that's right.
He has to pay a higher tax, and he has his dad with him. So
yes,
you guys have fun.
7244.
You guys have fun, and everybody should go hunt them right now on 7244. Of course, keep the stream on while you do it.
Yeah. Make sure you tell them. Make sure you tell them the stream says hi.
Yeah. Everybody who hunts them says, hey, tell them A-Trag sent you.
That's right.
There you
go. And then I think Stephen said he's going to do like $5 per QSO, for people that say that. So
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. $5 per QSO tonight. Don't worry. Your first couple's already paid for, Stephen. You've already got your first couple paid for you.
That's right.
You got enough to activate there. You got 10 QSOs there. Well, somebody will throw in a penny for you so you can get activated.
And yes, I will stand corrected. The FT891 does have a scope, but don't get me started. It's not worth using. It's not.
Oh wait, you're talking to a blind guy again. Yeah. I can't see here. Wait, you're telling me that my radio's got a scope? The 891's got a scope.
It does. It does. It's a monochromatic lines on the screen that is very slow to refresh.
So there we go, Terry, working for the penitentiary. So here's the thing. I've been meaning to go to the eye doctor forever, but for some reason the POTA gods will not allow me because I'm always in the park. But I want to explain to you why I'm blind.
They need to make park calls.
My prescription in my glasses is probably somewhere close between 12 and 15 years old. So you can imagine what I'm looking through right now. Mm-hmm. It's no wonder I'm blind. So I promise I'm going to eventually. My plan is before summer to actually have new eyes on my head.
I'll put this in perspective for all the listeners out there. The next time you're in the pool, just open your eyes underwater, and that's probably what he sees. Yeah, that's right, Mike and Eddie. The scope on the 891 isn't really a scope. It's a snapshot of what the band is right there when you hit the scope button or you hit the refresh button. It's not a continuously updating. It's I don't use it. It's crazy. I don't use it.
It's how I drive so fast in West Virginia. I think I'm driving a straight line.
There you go.
And I never go off the road.
That speed limit sign said 5,555 miles an hour. I don't know what you're saying.
That's what I told that that cop. I was like, leave him. A sign back there said 421. He said, that's what highway you're on.
That would be good for there, but if you got to go up US 1, you'd be screwed. But yeah, I always
when I was in Florida, I did go down to A1A Beachfront Avenue.
Oh yeah, always have to. Yep. But no, I mean I do like a scope on a radio, but is it needed? Nah, I get by just fine without it. But
here's the thing.
Makes it easier.
Here's the thing with me and scopes. They're pretty. But guess what? I'm a photo activator. I go find a clear frequency and I'm done. I don't need to look and see wherever. I'm not hunting frequencies. I'm not hunting anything. People are hunting me. I could care less about a scope. And that was my big thing when I got my 991A. The night that, well, 3 nights before I got my 991A, this guy that I was hanging out with back then was putting in my head how much better the 7300 was. It's so much better, so much better. And he's like, and if you get a 7300, I've got this extra mic here. It's like a $500 and some mic for an icon. I'll give it to you and blah blah blah. So for 3 days, I turned more than my head. You know, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? This is my first photo radio. What am I going to do? And then I just came down to the decision. Well, I'm going with where I originally said I was going, and I'm really glad I did because I have activated with both of them, and it's really funny because my 991 was actually Sherry had hit the clarifier button, and it was making me sound like I was off frequency. But I noticed that when she was hunting me, like you're off frequency, and she's always say she wasn't, and I just figured she was. But then Michael told me that I was off frequency when I hunted him. I was like, she's hit something. But it's really funny because I called out, and Terry was listening, and he's like, "Man, you busted that pile up so easy." Like, of course I did. I'm on a Yaesu. They're pile up busters.
I will give it to Yaesu though. I mean, I love my icons. Don't get me wrong, but it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Which one I use in the field? Most of the time, it's a Yaesu. Don't get me wrong. At the house, it's an icon. I'm vendor agnostic. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. Now I will give it to Yaesu. They have better digital noise reduction by far than Icom has. I love the DNR on Yaesus.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, that Kyle guy's in the chat.
Oh, hey, Mom. Good to see you. And I heard you use my call sign in a video. I'm going to need some royalties for that.
But at least he put it in the right place.
Yeah, number 2.
He had the order right. He had the king, then the hand of the king. He was going in the right sequence.
That's right. Kyle, it's about time for us to take over your stream again. Me and James have to go bombard you.
Yeah, we want to talk about how propagation affects peanut butter in the field.
There you go.
During a lunar eclipse.
Solar.
Well, either one.
But that's true. Yeah.
Why not try both?
Eric, I don't keep my DNR that high. A lot of people, I'm not going to say any names, keeps their DNR like jacked up where it sounds like you're in a swimming pool. but I leave mine on between like 1 and 3. 1 and 3 is perfect. It knocks out the band noise and it doesn't distort the audio. It does distort the audio, but not like.
I used to keep my DNR at like 10 and 11 all the time. Now wait, it sounded great, but it was just the strong stations. And Bill Brown on my activation last year, He's fiddling with it, and he puts it on one. And I'm like picking up all kinds of stuff I'd never heard before. So that's where it is all the time.
More. But now
anything above 3,
here's the thing. You guys watch my videos. How many of you have thought that my radio sounds like it's underwater? We'll see what we got here, because I always hear clear signals. Maybe it's my ears. I don't know.
I think it is. I know when I activate with your DX10, I leave the DNR on, but I move it down to about 2 or 3, just for my ears.
Yeah. Mine's normally around 7.
Yeah. Yeah,
7 is too wavy for me.
Yeah, and Chris has a good point. If you're used to listening to that background noise all the time and pulling signals out of there, that's cool. I mean, don't change what you're used to, because that quietness that the DNR brings is not going to be natural for you anymore.
Yeah.
And it's going to sound totally weird.
The very first time I heard the DX10 on, I couldn't pull out calls for nothing because they were too clear.
Yeah.
I told him, I was like, how do you hear this? They're too clear. It's like you're talking to them in the room. And it's funny because and again, I'm not cutting on ICOM, but anytime an ICOM user activates with me, they're like, how do you hear that? I don't hear the you got to hear that to make it out. And I'll turn every filter off the radio where it's just straight radio, and you'll hear nothing but that. That's great. Leave it there. I'm like, all right, you're in the mic.
That's just what they're used to, And I mean, I can get used to either. I mean, I'm so used to having the DNR when I run my 7300 in the field. It takes me about 10 minutes to get used to it. Now, the 7300 has decent noise reduction. I mean, but it's not anything like the Yaesu DNR. But I like them both. Not gonna lie.
Yacoms have a great receiver. That's one thing I will tell you. They've got a great receive.
Yeah. Especially the 7610, the filtering on is I love my 7610.
And they have the big pretty screen if you are one of those scope guys.
Yeah, I don't think I'd give my 7610 up.
No,
PP Man, 3D scope.
PP Man says I love his little 705. No, I really didn't.
Don't get me, Hayden. Don't get me started. No, you said that 3D scope. That's the worst, in my opinion. Sorry, Yaesu. Sorry, it's the worst damn thing they ever put in a radio.
The only thing it's good for is it's nice to look at once, and then you never use it again.
Yep, I go right back to the flat waterfall scope.
Thank you for pulling that out of Dan. I will know what scope to put on for Dan too.
Oh, I'll change it. I'll change it in a heartbeat.
Oh no, you can't now. I've got my radio set for password protection. You can't change any. You can't change any of the filters now.
But yeah, that's just no.
Did you talk about this yet?
Oh, 705. That's a good radio.
No, it's garbage. I hated that thing.
I would love to play with one. I'd never buy one.
I've played with one multiple times.
It's a cool looking radio as far as what it does.
It's way too.
It's got Bluetooth.
It's way too expensive to not have a tuner. If you're going to pay that much money for a QRP radio, you better have a tuner in it. You're way better off with an Elecraft. Way
or
better.
Just a regular dipole that's tuned for the band.
Kyle says that Flex has the best waterfall, and I will agree with that. I do have my list of gripes with Flex. That's why I don't own one. If they would resolve those, I would get one, but not for me right now.
Yeah.
Mr. Graham agrees with
us. If I can hear you fine, you get a 5.9. If I have a little trouble hearing you, you get a 5.5. If I got a lot of trouble hearing you, you get a 2.2 or a 3.3. But it all gets logged as a 5.9 because I don't care. I don't have time to log signal reports.
My signal reports in my software are automatic. They automatically 5959.
Yep.
I will give you a different report, but I won't give you a report on what the radio says. I'll give you a report on what my ear says.
I have to.
Sure.
Because you got to take into consideration. I mean, technically, if you've got a +9 noise floor and you hear somebody, technically, they're a lot better report than you're giving them, but you're barely hearing them. They might be a 3.3 to your ears. So I give you what my ears hear. And on CW, I give 2 reports. If you're 5'9", 5'5" to 5'9", you get a 5'9", 5 in. If you're below a 5'5", you get a 5'5", because that's my favorite 2 signal reports to see.
Yeah. But everything's logged as a 5.9 to me. One POTA doesn't care about signal reports. I don't care about signal reports as long as I make the contact. I don't care if I'm a 1-1. If I'm in your log, good enough for me. And I don't have time to log signal reports. I just don't have time to do it. I can't work a pilot and log a damn signal report.
I really don't care what signal reports people give me, but it drives me insane, absolutely insane, when, let's say, Dan and his neighbor both have radios and stuff, or side by side. Dan works me, you're 5'9" plus, and then the next door neighbor works me. Oh, you're about a 4'1". No, get a better antenna, buddy. You suck. And
But that was his honest. That was his honest signal report.
It's because his antenna sucked.
Well, that's what it is. That ain't.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was.
It's no dig on you. That's what he's hearing.
I mean, I got to do them by ear too. I can't look at my meter because, like a lot of people, my primary receive antenna is on the ground. If I gave you a true signal report, everybody would be like a 5'1" or a 5'2", maybe a 5'3" if you're really good. That would be a true meter report, but it's not accurate to what I'm hearing.
Now, if I give you a plus, I've looked at the meter, and you're going way above the meter. If I give you if I say you're +10, +20, you're getting on the signal report.
Yeah, I'll do that too. I just looked at the meter. You're 20 over. Yeah,
from the radio.
And what's sad about it is when I give you sometimes on 20 meters, James, I'll say you're 20 over. That's as true. I'm looking down right now and I'm seeing you in the red 20 over, but my RF gain is never not cranked down. So if I put my RF gain where it was supposed to be, you'd probably be 25 or 30.
And then there's
you don't leave your.
And then there's a signal report you give people like Charlie Whiskey Bravo and Charlie Golf Charlie. If you have to reach and turn the radio where it's almost off because they just blew out your eardrum, and like people 400 yards away at the next shelter is looking over like, what is this moron doing over there? That you give them a plus.
No, Hayden, I ride my RF gain. I keep my RF gain. So what I do is I put my RF gain straight up at the 12 o'clock position on an ICOM. That's like, I guess 100%. Okay.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, because if you go further than that, it starts to turn into a squelch. But anyway, all right. So straight up and down is 100%. And what I do is I look at the noise floor of the band, and I'll turn my RF gain down until the noise floor gets about an S1. Somewhere between S0 and S1. So that's how I knock the noise out of the band. I don't use my attenuator very much.
Mm-hmm. That's using the RF gain the right way, though.
Yeah. Well, it's the right way to me. So
that's the right way to use it.
Yeah.
I leave mine cranked up all the time.
Yeah.
I don't play that. That's like the last thing I play with if I'm trying to pick somebody out.
Yeah.
Terry, you know my saying. You keep hunting and we'll keep stacking them up.
Yeah, Tracy. Yeah. Worse than that when somebody struggles and then asks you to repeat your call sign 47 times and gives you a 5.9. Thanks.
That just gets me every time.
Yeah.
And hunters do the same thing too. because he cracks me up when 100 gives me a 5.9, and for some reason I needed to tell them something like, I needed, I have something that belongs to them or anything. Just tell them anything, and then you tell them something, they're like, "What? Huh?" And you say it again. Oh, there's a lot of noise in here. I can't hardly hear you.
I'm gonna have to start using that one, Dave. You're too. You're too strong and too loud.
2 plus 10.
Yeah, buddy. We were talking about that before the stream. I'm still gonna give somebody a 5.7 plus 20. just to see what they
So
do.
you gotta say it right. You're 5'7" and 20 over.
Yeah. Just to see how long it takes for them to key the microphone back and go, thanks, 7.3.
Dan. Speaking of people who's lucky, my pileup got lucky and got embraced by that Alpha Zero Zulu guy. He actually hunted
heard
me
that.
this week.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I must be special. Got Kyle hunting me.
I did hear that. I think he said astronaut something.
Yeah. He said, well, all I heard it was in the pileup was Zanzibar.
Yeah.
And I knew right who it was. Kyle used to hunt me all the time, but then, he got like super famous, and he's now on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous Ham Stars.
Uber famous.
He don't hunt me no more.
He ain't got time for us scrubs. I do want some hamburgers though.
He said your CW, don't bring this boy to the yard.
Kyle, Huntsville burgers. I want some burgers. I miss some burgers. I want some burgers, cheeseburgers, burgers. Just don't dope them like you did last time.
Do you remember anything from it?
Not much. I woke up in a daze.
You need to make a burger with a bacon weave.
How about a cheeseburger with onion and peanut butter?
Oh.
That's an inside joke. Sorry guys if you haven't heard that one from Orlando. You have to go back. You have to go back about 10, 20 streams and listen to that one.
Oh, just think all the inside jokes you're going to miss in May, Dan.
Just think of all the inside jokes that PP Man's going to miss in August.
This is true too.
Yeah. One year, 2015. How about that?
2015. You're going to miss the seesaw competition
for 2025.
But there will be video.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be video.
Can I do the blooper reel? Just send me all your raw video. I'll do the production and a blooper reel.
Actually, if there is anybody that is near, Dayton, Xenia, whatever, somewhere in that area that knows of a local park that has teeter-totters, please send me the information on these, because we have a hardcore teeter-totter off between Kilo 8 Golf Quebec and the PP Man.
Teeter-totter off.
And they got to do it while they're doing CW?
Lord, no. Because here would be the thing. Terry would be sending his call sign too many times to PP Man for him to decode them all. And that would give Terry the advantage.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate Terry last weekend during the Georgia State Park Through the Air event. Out of the 900 and change contacts I made, I think he was 200 something of them. So thank you very much, buddy. You really pumped my numbers up there.
Listen, he the other day he's so used to doing in his bloomers. Hey, whatever you wear, buddy. Just know what's going on. Just go know what's on YouTube.
That's my.
It might be on Dan's channel, not mine, but just know what's going on.
That's right. I'd have to make a throwaway channel.
We'll stick it on Hayden's channel. He don't care.
I need more content anyway. Throw it on there.
I can get into Kyle's and put it on his.
There we go. We'll just give Kyle a roofie, and we'll upload the Peter Cotter off.
That's
on
what
his
was in
roofie.
those burgers. That's some serious stuff.
That's awesome.
Oh my God! But yeah, the other day, Terry, he had hunted me, and he was wanting to hunt me again so bad, and he's like, "I can't do it. I can't do it." He'll talk about it on the stream. He'll talk. So he goes back to the park that he had already activated. Drove from his house back to the park to re-hunt me, just so I'd tell him I've already got you, Terry. And he's like, "I'm back in the park on a hamstick." I was like, "Well, that's going to count."
Oh, Uncle Terry, we love you, brother.
No, God, Andrew says it reminds me of Eastern sexy time. No, don't.
Oh God,
Don't get me started on that, man.
Too
I don't
late.
know. I thought I was going to die right there in that car. I could not breathe when he said that. Like, I could not breathe. It was horrible.
Oh gosh, Eastern sexy time. Holy crap! Time flies.
Yeah, we are
Man.
over. That's okay. I guess it's okay to go over because there's probably nobody following behind me anyway. But do you guys realize that this stream started at 10 o'clock at night?
Once upon a time.
Yeah.
It was before my time.
Yeah, this stream used to be at 10 o'clock at night. And then we got 9 o'clock, and then we finally got 8 o'clock, and we ain't never leaving 8 o'clock hour. Not that we won't be still on the computer, because guess what, guys? We're getting ready to head over to After Chat right here in a minute. If you are not a Patreon and would like to check out After Chat, you can go over to Patreon and click for a 7-day free trial and check it out. Just make sure and message one of the three of us in Discord and let us know you're set up for it, and we'll get you in the room. Other than that, Hayden, what you got coming up on the boat?
Oh, well, we'll be down there working on it this weekend, but
What? No way.
Yeah, I haven't been down there in a while. I'm working on stuff here at the house, but April 27th is what I've got coming up on my calendar. My W3RAR Memorial Activation Maryland POTA meetup. Put that in your calendars. Make contacts with us. We're going to be doing sideband, digital, and if Bill Brown shows up, CW.
There we go. Dan, what you got coming up?
As always, I am going to hang out here. I'm going to go ahead and join the stream for Sunday and wait for Hayden to tell me about a swim platform to make sure it's done.
I will not be here Sunday.
I got to wait till I got to wait a whole 7 days.
Yep.
All right, that's it. I'm calling you on Sunday.
Okay.
All right. So I'm getting ready to head over to After Dark and hang out with everybody. After I go hunt Steven, since he generously paid his taxes, I'm going to go hunt him real quick. And then I'm going to head over to After Chat. Tomorrow I drop a video. Friday through Sunday, I'm out doing POTA and filming videos. And I think there might be, well, there is definitely a Patreon meetup coming up, and it's also on the 27th in Murphy. But I think there might end up being an unofficial Patreon meetup on Saturday. So I've heard rumors of. So stay tuned for that. But you're going to be close to West Virginia for it to happen. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, guys, we are heading over to the After Chat. Thanks everybody for the donations, and we'll catch everybody on the air. 73.
See ya.
73.